Hello, Summit attendees. Welcome to the last of our 2020 Startup of the Year Semifinalist pitches. I'm one of your hosts, Jen Consalvo.
And I'm Frank Gruber, and we're the co-CEOs of Established. Thank you for joining us this week at our 8th annual Startup of the Year Summit.
These 3 days have been amazing on so many different levels. We hope you've made connections, engaged in valuable exchanges, and have built an experience that worked great for you and for your company's strategy and growth. It's always been part of the Startup of the Year mission to support founders and their teams so that they can share their work on a global stage, while at the same time connecting to industry experts, investors, and other leaders to help them learn and grow.
In fact, we'd love to take a quick moment to hear a little bit more about your startup experience, your Startup of the Year experience here, and by joining the conversation. Everyone has a chance right now. If you're watching this, there's a chat window, as well as out on social. You've got the opportunity to share maybe some great thoughts. Maybe you saw Tim Draper earlier today, and he really captivated you with his gusto, and he brought that energy. He can really get fired up talking about cryptocurrency or being a startup hero or one of his other topics. Or not, but you get the idea. You can go out there and you can talk about it, share your favorite thoughts, quotes, using the hashtag Startup of Year on Instagram or on whatever your favorite platform is. Maybe it's
social media of choice.
So, yeah, social media of choice. As well as maybe you had a chance to participate in some of the curated office hours this week. We had a chance to actually get all the companies that are participating in the curated office hours. If you're not part of the 100 companies that participated, you can actually just create your own meetings through the platform. But of those meetings, we really try to make those top 100 companies connect with thought leaders and investors and kind of do the matchmaking. And so last year we did over 500 meetings at our summit in Memphis, and this year we try to do a similar thing online.
And shout out to our team who actually goes through and with great care looking for great matches.
Right.
So
it's a lot of coordination.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So thank you so much, team. Thank you. Hopefully those startups had a good opportunity to connect, and they're still happening obviously today as well. So also there were some AMA sessions or Ask Me Anything sessions, maybe an Ask a VC or Ask a PR or social media pro. This today actually happening while this is happening actually. So we're not trying to make you go watch something else, but there is another channel, and you can go check out Sarah Evans, who's hosting an Ask a PR session, or Jason Rathje, who's from AF Ventures, talking about what they're up to at the U.S. Air Force and with that new arm of what they're
And if you prefer to stay here, and you can watch those later.
Right, yeah, they'll all be out there. Yeah. Also, we're bringing back some of our startup alumni. We've got great alumni from the years. This is our 8th year, so we've had some amazing companies come through. We're having some different sessions throughout the week here, and today is the final session where we're going to be bringing back a handful of companies to share their kind of journey and some of the things they've learned along the way, and some advice. So hopefully you get a chance to check that out as well. Although don't leave, stay here. This is going to be a lot of fun.
You know you like us best. All right, so this is our third and final semifinalist round of pitches. And if you weren't aware, this is the first year Summit attendees have been able to experience this round of the action. Usually these pitches to the judges are behind closed doors. So it's kind of exciting, top secret stuff, but this year we opened the doors to allow everyone in.
And we've actually put it on the internet, which is totally different.
On the internet. And so, hopefully you've been able to see them. If you haven't, you still can. You can also go online at est.us/poll, learn about the companies, and cast your vote in the People's Choice Award. We'd love to have you participate in that. And today at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to announce the top 15 companies.
It's so exciting.
And then the top 5.
Yes.
The top 5 finalists will be announced at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to then go directly into the top 5 pitch competition, followed by the award ceremony, where the 2020 Startup of the Year winner will be announced.
Yeah, I've been getting my other threads ready for that.
Yeah, there might be a little kind of like the
costume change,
like the Oscars, where there's a wardrobe change.
Yeah, there you go. You call it a wardrobe, I call it a costume.
We'll also be announcing the .us Veteran Startup of the Year and the $10,000 non-dilutive cash prize winner. We'll share a bit more about that program in a few minutes.
Yes, and the established team and judges have been extremely impressed with this year's companies. I mean, they've been phenomenal. I mean, we got a chance to vet down thousands of companies to 100, and they've all, we've been with them now, watching them for the last month or two actually, and we had a chance to kind of get to know them. And some of the great things that I wanted to share about these founders is some great tidbits or facts. First off, over half the startups have a female on their founding team, which is amazing. 74% of the teams have a founder of color, which is also amazing. And then obviously 20% of the companies have a military veteran on the founding team. So we obviously really strive for diversity, not just in location, not being on the coast or whatnot, but also with the founding teams, because it actually does make an impact on the success of the business. There's studies that show that. So really important. Obviously, you want to be able to support everyone that's out there with a dream trying to change the world. All right, so before we kick off on our first pitch, I want to thank our partners and sponsors. So first up, .us is a top-level domain. They're sponsoring the .us Veteran Startup of the Year category, which is a $10,000, say it again, $10,000 cash prize. I wish they had some kind of CGI where the cash was coming down, but we don't. Not in budget this year. But more or less, $10,000 cash prize for the winner of that program, as well as they're giving away a free domain. So if you are thinking about something, you have an idea about a startup idea, or maybe you already have an existing business and you want to get a shorter domain or a different domain, check .us, and they're actually giving away free domains right now on us. And basically, you get a chance to go out there right now. If you look in the chat window, you'll find the URL. But we did it. We got .us. We got a .us domain early on, 3 years ago, before the offer. So we actually got it. I guess we're trendsetters, if you will.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so
along with Zoom and a few others.
Right, I've heard of Zoom. So establish.us as well as est.us are our domains, but you can go get your own as well. So go check out that URL and go right away and sign up. And they've got a little web builder and everything. So pretty good program for anybody listening, not just people that are part of that program. .us veteran program will actually, or Veteran Startup of the Year program will actually take place today. So don't go anywhere. Today at 3 p.m. Eastern, you'll be able to get a chance to see a little bit of a snapshot of all the different companies that are involved in this year's program, and we'll be awarding the winner here later today as part of our award ceremony. So a lot going on today. Today is the day. If you had to pick a day, not to say the other days weren't great, they're amazing, but today is the culmination of our Startup of the Year program.
All year long for today.
We've been sitting here waiting for that long, and it's been amazing. So.
And we'd also like to thank Cloud 303, this team of elite certified solution architects who implement solutions in the AWS cloud, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. Hopefully some of you were able to join Phil's Ask a Cloud Expert session yesterday. If not, you can watch that recording again and get all those great insights. Again, thank you all for your support.
Yes, and every year we turn to our growing network of community leaders and investors to search for the most promising startups out there. It's a year-long trek as we scour the globe and country and web for the most interesting companies. Obviously, this year is slightly different than years past with the global pandemic, but today I wanted to thank a couple different partners. Backstage Capital is one. They've been super supportive. Founders First Capital Partners, Centropolis, and Pledge 1%. Thank you to all of our supporters, and obviously they helped us get these top 100 companies here today.
Thank you to all of our partners, and now it's time to introduce another group that we love and rely on dearly, an incredible panel of judges. First up, Allyson Kapin. Allyson is the founding partner at the W Fund, a VC firm directly investing in outstanding tech startups led by innovative women and traditionally underrepresented founders who are driving the future of tech. She's been named one of the most influential women in tech by Fast Company. And as the founder of Women Who Tech, she launched one of the largest global programs called the Women's Startup Challenge to disrupt a culture and economy that has made it difficult for women entrepreneurs to raise capital. Allyson is also VC Scout for Indie VC, the co-founder of RAD Campaign, and is passionate about the intersection of social change with online technologies and social communities. Welcome, Allyson. Great to have you.
So excited to be here.
Thank you. All right, next up, Marc Nager. He is a partner in the Greater Colorado Venture Fund. Marc is also well known for being the co-founder of Startup Weekend, which is an essential part of the startup ecosystem. And in addition, he has served as a COO for Techstars and formerly served as the managing director of the Telluride Venture Accelerator. And a fun fact, our team at Established was honored to get to work with the Greater Colorado Venture Fund earlier this year to produce their Greater Colorado Pitch Series.
Yes, and that was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. If you didn't check it out, you can just go to YouTube and our YouTube channel. It's right there. Thousands of people have watched it. Yeah. It was a great experience. Welcome, Marc. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me, you guys. Yeah, it was a great event, and really honored to be part of another one of your amazing productions here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Marc.
Fantastic. All right, next we'd like to welcome Mike Asem, partner at M25 in Chicago. M25 is a venture capital firm targeting early stage tech-enabled startups in the Midwest, where Mike has participated in over 100 investments in early stage companies. He's a board member at Black VC and passionate entrepreneur and investor. and an avid blogger sharing thoughts on racism and social injustice, being a VC, and things like how to make the perfect egg. That's one of Frank's missions.
We got to talk. I love eggs.
His blog is called RIRTS. That stands for really or rarely important random thoughts. Welcome, Mike. And I've got to say, I'm a subscriber. I love reading your thoughts.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Frank. Thanks so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Great to have you here.
All right. Next up, we've got Ronnie Martinez from CEAS Investments. Ronnie joined CEAS as a VC analyst in 2018. She's responsible for seeking out and analyzing and recommending potential seed investments for the firm, as well as analyzing and reporting on various aspects of the portfolio companies they have, and obviously as well as the venture capitalist industry as a whole. Welcome, Ronnie. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Excited to be here.
Awesome. All right. And last but not least, we want to welcome back our longtime friend and judge of the, and multiple time judge at the start of your program, Cheryl Foil. Cheryl is the manager at Finite Capital, and an investment capitalist that focuses on real estate, logistics, and construction technology. Prior to that, moving into VC, she was in private equity and has also served as a chief technology officer for several companies focused on natural language processing and social media automation, as well as she's got her own venture endeavors as well. She's currently owns and operates 6 wine brands, which includes Elyse Winery in Napa Valley. So welcome, Cheryl, and hopefully you're staying safe over there in Napa.
Thank you. I think the chaos and fire is finally over. Thank you to everyone in startups. I can't wait to hear more.
Thanks, Cheryl.
All right. Thank you, judges. So if y'all are ready, mute your microphones until you are ready to ask a question, and we're going to get started.
Let's get started.
This is how it's going to work. So we have a whole bunch of companies at today's session. Each startup will present for 2 minutes. You'll watch their 2-minute pitch. Then they're going to engage with you guys for a 3-minute Q&A. So this is when you guys are going to jump in with all your questions. We have a special timer with us. Bessie the Llama is going to help as our on-screen timer. She will pop up when Q&A begins and let us know when time's up. If there's a question asked when time is up, we'll give the startup 30 seconds to answer. So we'll try to encourage them to keep it very brief.
Yeah, well, meanwhile, I'll be encouraged to try to watch Bessie longer because I love llamas and alpacas, so it's going to be very tough. All right, so let's get started. You ready? Yeah, I'll try to hold back. All right, first up, we've got our first company. It's calendar.com, all the way from Salt Lake City, Utah. Let's watch their pitch.
My name is John Hall. I'm with calendar.com. My team and I have worked really hard to develop a tool that is so important right now with COVID and remote work, and really just trying to figure out how we can operate best with our team and manage our time. So the big challenge, we have a lot of unneeded meetings. We have scheduling that you're going back and forth. We have no really self-awareness across the team to understand how they can use their time better. Well, we have an amazing product that fits right in the middle, where when you think of the bigger players, Google, Microsoft, Apple, you want to integrate with those, which we do. But then also you don't want to be running to 15, 20 different tools when you're using your calendar or when you're trying to be more productive. So we're that all-in-one tool that can do a lot of the features that you need while integrating with the big players in the space. So we have here's an example of a unified calendar where you can see my personal meetings are in there, but my team won't see it. But I won't miss my daughter's recital because people won't be able to schedule during that time, which obviously work-life balance is becoming more and more important for companies these days, and making sure there's no overlapping of scheduling. Then you also have just simple things like, Doodle, you're manually entering times. It's very hard to figure out the best use of your team's time. And so we have functionality that uses artificial intelligence to figure out the best times for your team to meet and to make scheduling a lot easier. You'll see we have a time analytics function that's fairly basic now, but as we're growing with our enterprise sales, it's growing a significant amount. Then we have a business model which starts out with subscription revenue, but it also includes where we can really grow with data and enterprise clients with larger accounts, which we're already starting to see. Here's our amazing development team. We've got Steve from Adobe and some really big names here that are amazing. I love dealing with them on a regular basis. And then you have 2 co-founders, myself and John Rampton, who've had multiple exits. So we do have a track record of successes and past failures as younger entrepreneurs. So we really feel comfortable with what we can do to scale this thing. with enterprise relationships, we have some signed, a lot in the pipeline. If you just look at the traction, when we did our MVP, we got to 100K pretty quickly. And now in the last 6 weeks, we just launched the enterprise account where we're almost to 20K MRR. We have 70K in the pipeline where it's going to be a great 2021. And we'd love to have you guys join us on this ride.
Let's welcome John Hall from Calendar.com.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
Definitely. All right, so we're going to start off some Q&A. We're going to get Bessie the timer ready here. And ready, who wants to jump in with the first question of our final pitch session here?
Just remember to unmute.
Yeah, don't be shy, guys.
Yeah, don't be shy.
Appreciate the pitch. I think that the biggest question I have out of the gate is what are the one or two key things that people are choosing you over Google Calendar or something else with a lot of existing integrations and features right now?
Yeah, and in reality, like, so Google and Apple, a lot of them, they just don't play nice together. They don't try to make an effort to actually play nice together. And so I think that the biggest factor is that we go seamlessly across the platforms, and then also just the analytics that we're able to get. And I think that a lot of people are just sick of using like 13 different tools or 15. I was on 10 before we started it. So I think that one of the biggest factors is they're like, hey, like I just need one of the big players and then here, and I don't need to worry about a bunch of other tools. So that the simplification, I think, is one of the things they like most.
Next question. Go ahead, Mark.
Happy to jump in. Thanks, John. One question around kind of customer acquisition. Obviously, you talk about some of the partnerships, but is this a top-down, a bottom-up? Probably a combo thereof. But how do you get out there and really compete with these other big names that I'm sure are spending a ton of money to acquire the same customers?
Yeah, and my business partner and I have somewhat of a past experience in search and organic traffic. And so if you see the traffic, it's kind of crazy. We started off with more getting the broad, like if you just type in calendar, go to Google, type in just the term calendar, you'll see we're number 4. You'll start typing in top productivity tools and how we're ranking for different things like that. You'll start seeing this all over the place. So I think that we have a kind of a superpower in organic search and basically showing up in all those places. We can beat a lot of the big players. But then now the focus since search and organic and PRs is getting that. Now our sales approach is very, very driven on enterprise sales. And so that's what we primarily focus our sales efforts on because we already got the organic content engine going.
Can you share a little bit more about who you think your core competition is?
It's really, I mean, I would say that at first kind of you look at like the Calendly's out there where like it's a very specific tool, which I actually like Calendly. I like a lot of the players, and like my issue isn't with the tools. The issue is that I have to use 10 of them to do, one thing. And so I would say that, Calendly and like some that we even acquired TimeBridge that would have been a competitor in the past and different things like that. But I would definitely say a lot of those tools all spread out are our biggest competitor. If you saw in that third tool, because Google and Apple and Microsoft, we play very, very nice with. As we get into more data analytics, then Microsoft becomes a bigger player because they have teams and things like that where they're starting to provide that data. But I would say that right now it's most of those specific tools that we have the challenge with.
Great. And we are at time. Great job. It's always hard to go first. Thanks so much, John.
Thanks for having me and everything you do for startups.
Thanks, John. All right, so judges, get those tallies in. I don't know about you, Jen, but I live by my calendar. So when you said calendar.com, I perked up immediately. Such an important tool.
And URL.
And URL, yeah, I should mention. Quite a fine URL as well.
That's a nice little competitive advantage to have.
Yeah, quite clear what they do.
Yes. All right. Give us a signal when you guys are good with your scores. Yeah. And we will move on to the next company.
Did you know that the Sumerian calendar was actually the earliest calendar?
I love it when Frank comes up with these random facts.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, we're going to move on to our second company of the day. Next up is CaseCTRL from Houston, Texas. They come to us through our partner at Springtime Ventures. Let's hear their pitch.
Every year, surgeons leave $500,000 on the table. Why? The surgical scheduling process and its complex logistics are holding surgery practices back. As an orthopedic surgeon, I was shocked to find 35% of my surgical candidates never even made it to the OR. At the nexus of this problem are surgery schedulers. Juggling many stakeholders and cases leads to burnout and suboptimal care. For patients, surgery is an equally stressful time, with an average of only 10 minutes in clinic to digest the encyclopedia of information I provide for their surgeries. There has to be a better way.
Time to reimagine the delivery of surgical care. Time to take control of the chaos. Introducing CaseCTRL, the intelligent SaaS surgical coordination platform. Using AI, CaseCTRL mitigates case cancellations, anticipates scheduling conflicts, and prevents misordered supplies. Automated just-in-time text queues instill confidence on the patient journey. Ditch the old-school paper trail for 21st century surgical coordination built by surgeons for surgeons. Unlike competitors, CaseCTRL starts in the clinic, where the surgical journey begins, well before a scheduler is involved, giving end-to-end transparency and data insights of the case pipeline. The digitized surgical planning workflow means no surgical candidates fall through the cracks before reaching the EMR. Teams are no longer dependent on the surgeons, thanks to our patent-pending knowledge transfer tool, which allows surgeons to craft a complex surgical plan in seconds.
Surgeons and staff love CaseCTRL. Our first pilots have delivered increased revenue and time, and contract negotiations are underway at 3 hospital sites. We're starting with a beachhead in orthopedic surgery, focusing initially on the 9,000 private practice orthopedic surgeons in the US. Ultimately, surgical coordination is a universal global problem with a $6.7 billion market.
I'm Pamela Singh, CEO and Veteran Systems Engineer. Dr. Ashwin Dhawan is an orthopedic surgeon and visionary. And Sachi, an experienced computer scientist, is our CTO. Join CaseCTRL on our mission to reinvent the delivery of surgical care.
All right. Welcome, Pamela Singh and Ashwin Dhawan. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
All right, timer should be coming up, and judges, unmute and jump in with questions.
I had a question for you on your competition. I'd love to hear a little bit more about who they are and how you think you're going to win this market.
So I'll take that first. So I think our biggest competition is actually paper-based scheduling. There's a big void before a case actually gets scheduled in the electronic medical record. There's a big logistical process that has to be organized, primarily done by paper in our market research. There are some competitors out there. I would say it's ePreop, Surgimate, and a few others. And I think the angle that we're taking is we're starting where the surgical journey begins, which is in the clinic. And our tool, we give a tool for surgeons to craft a complex surgical plan within seconds. It learns the surgeon's preferences and is able to immediately start disseminating information to all the stakeholders. And I think the other players, they start a little more downstream in the process with like scheduler tools or a tool directed for the hospital to orchestrate the process. So I think that's kind of our competitive edge.
Cheryl Foil here. I see that you either have or you're planning to do surgical code reconciliations. Are you also planning to do denial management to optimize, surgeons being able to get money back from the coding that they do per insurance?
Yeah, so we have one of the big problems is reconciliation. So we have a dashboard essentially that allows them to compare what the surgeon coded at the end of the case and what was done a priori in the authorization process. And it kind of just cues the surgeon to confirm right when it's fresh in their mind after the surgery so that they can make sure that they have the right coding and the best billing possible.
What is the cost of, both in terms of potential money, but time for training new surgeons, I suppose? You have to go in and you have to train every individual surgeon to, get onto a new platform. I guess, what does that look like for you guys in terms of acquisition and ramp up cost?
So we are doing our first few pilots, and so we're still determining the exact CAC, but it is pretty short. We can get a surgeon up and running in less than 2 weeks and virtually train a surgeon in less than an hour, as well as their scheduler in less than an hour as well. So we can bring people up to speed fairly quickly.
Can I ask about the length of the sales cycle?
I will confess, being an early startup, it's still an iterative process and we're learning a lot. I would say from the bigger enterprise players, our early pilots with hospitals, I think they could be anywhere from 8 to 12 months, but I think it's all kind of unclear because we're in the middle of COVID. So we're not sure how much that's causing the sales cycles to take longer. With private practices, which is our niche market, it's much faster adoption within 3 to 4 months.
Excellent, and time's up. Thank you both for joining us today. Judges, make sure your scores are entered. And just a reminder for everyone out there, you may have heard us over the past couple of days refer to some of our partners The partners who refer startups to the program, we work with hundreds of partners across the country, and we love to connect with all kinds of organizations. So if you're interested, how can they get in touch with us?
Well, there's a domain that's out being dropped in the chat right now, but it's est.us/CP. So really short. Go fill out a form. If you want to be a partner, we'd love to hear from you. And we're always gathering new partners to be a part of the network that helps us, find these great companies and not just find these great companies, but other opportunities as well as we continue to work in this ecosystem. All right, how are we looking, judges? We got thumbs up. We're looking good. All right, let's move on to our next company. Our next company is Cherry Blossom Intimates from Washington, D.C. Let's watch their pitch.
Meet Josephine. Josephine experienced a double mastectomy, which is the life-saving surgical removal of both breasts after her breast cancer diagnosis. She shopped at a medical supply store and searched for bras and prosthetics that matched her skin tone and fit her body. Unfortunately, she died without ever experiencing what I've now made possible, the perfect fit. Josephine was my grandmother. Would you want the breast cancer survivor that you love shopping in a place like this for such an important part of her body, behind aisles of bedpans, laxatives, and adult diapers for the rest of her life? Over 100,000 mastectomies are performed each year, and we are the first company to offer completely customizable, fully insurance billable post-mastectomy prosthetics and bras with a state-of-the-art fit experience. You can think of us as Warby Parker, but for boobs. Using 3D printing technology, we build silicone breasts that come in 36 skin tones, while the current market offering is 2 skin tones. My flagship boutique doubles as a fully accredited medical facility that looks and feels like a lingerie store, allowing women to shop in a similar way to their pre-diagnosis experience. Our product mix is reimbursable by health insurance, and we accept over 80% of national insurance plans, including Medicare and Medicaid. Gross margins are between 40 and 60%, and our products are priced at $600 to $3,500. We've helped over 4,000 customers so far. Next up, we'll be launching virtual fittings in a subscription box model that renews in sync with prescription refills. I have studied both entrepreneurship and retail finance. I'm a Forbes Under 30 list maker and a former Miss DC USA. I have a team comprised of the best in the industry. National retail has neglected the breast cancer survivors that we all know and love, providing us an opportunity to impact millions of women in the $7 billion industry and in a meaningful way. Thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate you. I look forward to your questions.
All right. Welcome, Jasmine Jones. How are we?
Hi, guys. I'm great. How are you?
Good to see you again. Thanks for joining. All right. Who's got the first question for Jasmine?
I can hop in.
Go ahead, Ronnie.
Yeah, how have you guys had to make changes because of COVID? Because I know that you're in the retail space.
Yeah, so we closed our doors actually the day before our state mandated us to, because so many of our patients are considered immunocompromised. So during that experience, I had to figure out what I would do to pivot the business if I was never able to touch a breast cancer survivor again in my life. So we pivoted to virtual fittings in the same way that we're talking now. We were able to do virtual fittings over a secured line. And we also launched a subscription-based model. So these items are renewable annually or biannually. And we called up 60 of our patients who are eligible for renewals, and we began shipping them out product, which launched an idea in my mind that we can send her these items in a pink box directly to her doorstep.
Next question.
So how many have you fulfilled fully remote at this point?
We did about $19,000 in revenue remotely, which really launched our idea to pivot it into a full model that we roll out at the top of 2021. We were featured on Good Morning America and got an overwhelming response from over 400 women across the nation saying that they'd be interested. So we consider them our wait list, and we plan to roll that out at the top of the year.
Oh, great. Cheryl, did you have a question?
Oh, yes. Are you planning to expand out into markets of people that either weren't born with feminine breasts or simply didn't get a lot of them even though they were born female? And if you do so, are you planning to keep the same marketing or create a different brand or company?
That is a great question. You know, that was surprised us when we launched our business that we had so many people who were from the male to female trans population that were interested in our services and our products. I brought a little boob with me. But yes, we do plan to dive into that market using the same marketing. What we've learned is that they don't like to feel that they're an other, and we completely understand and embrace that. Inside of our walls, we highlight inclusivity and innovation, and we want everyone to feel accepted and loved. So they would be in the same brand.
Thank you.
All right. Who's got the next question?
I had a question for you about how often are people reordering this? Is there like an average cycle in terms of reordering, and what does that look like in terms of retention?
Right. So these items, after you've experienced a mastectomy, are covered for your lifetime. So we're able to help women for the rest of their lives. And what they love about us is that they have a comfortable place that they can come back to every year or every other year, depending on their health insurance plan.
Great question.
Can you share how much the health insurance plan will cover? You shared like specifically for each item, but will they cover 2 of them, 3 of them, 4 of them? Like how many pairs will they cover?
So it'll be up to 100% of the cost. If you have a copay, then we let you know about your copay in advance, and then you just pay that difference. And then you receive, if you've received a single mastectomy, you'll receive 1 custom piece, and then we can give you a foam piece, and we just follow you throughout your post-surgical journey through healing. And
all right. Great. Thank you so much, Jasmine.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. All right, judges, do your judging, and Jen and I will.
We're just going to reminisce about cherry blossom season.
Yeah, DC. Wow. What a great time to be in DC is cherry blossom season. So obviously she incorporated that into her brand, which is a good, brings back a good, memories, right? Of beautiful season. Although last year, the fall there was amazing because it was,
right.
It was
and
electric.
For Frank, you can't beat it because Baseball. It was the World Series.
Yeah, that was awesome. But
all right.
New year, new series. All right. So let's move on. You guys doing okay? Thumbs up.
Great.
Okay.
All right. Next, let's welcome CPRWrap from Hixon, Tennessee. They're an alumni of Techstars and Collab in Tennessee. Let's watch their pitch.
In 2002, I almost lost my baby to a choking incident. I was working in the medical field and CPR certified, but instead of doing what I was trained to do, I froze. Thankfully, my husband was there and he was able to save our son. But it was then I realized if this could happen to me, then it's happening to people everywhere. According to the American Heart Association, more than 350,000 out-of-hospital cardiac arrests occur in the U.S. every year, with 240,000 of those happening in the home. The person most likely to respond to that emergency will be you. It has been proven that CPR provided immediately after cardiac arrest could double or even triple a victim's chances of survival. But 80% of Americans are reluctant to perform CPR due to a lack of knowledge or fear of causing harm. This is why I invented CPRWrap. Our patented disposable template protects and guides any non-medical responder during CPR. CPRWrap has an attached one-way valve mouth barrier for rescue breathing, visual hand placements, and simple instructions that can be translated into any language. They come in adult, child, and infant sizes with a price point of $14.99. Since our launch in 2017, we have sold over 8,000 units and have partnered with several nonprofits to provide CPRWrap kits to other served communities globally. The medical device industry is a $185 billion market. By implementing our go-to-market strategy, we have been able to foster many organizational partnerships as they include CPRWraps in schools, businesses, transportation, and alongside other safety devices. I have over 20 years experience in the medical field and have put together a team that are experts in sales, operations, and CPR to help grow CPRWrap into a globally recognized brand. We are on a mission to empower people everywhere to step up and do the most basic, unselfish thing a human can do, save a life. We welcome you to visit us at CPRWrap.com to get your wrap today to save a life tomorrow. Thank you.
Great. Welcome back to the stage, Felicia Jackson. Great to see you here. And judges, jump in now with your questions.
Hey, Felicia, wonderful job. This is one of those that just, it's so obvious and everybody clearly needs this. It should be in every single first aid kit out there, right?
Right.
How do you get to that point? Obviously, partnerships are a key piece of it, but are you also selling direct to consumer or talk to me through kind of the different channels and how you really get to that point.
Right. Thank you for asking. That's a great question. Now, CPRWrap is considered a B2B2C. We are talking to our direct consumer via our e-commerce platform. So they can go right onto our website and place an order for a wrap. And we're also talking to channel partners like the hospitals that want to provide the wraps to high-risk patients, or even insurance companies that partner with nonprofits that want to get them out into the community as a social impact product. So we're tackling both ends of the spectrum.
Great question.
Do you have major liability risks if someone says that your product malfunctioned or that the instructions were incorrect that you have to worry about?
Right. So CPR is not proprietary, right? I mean, it's something that's used by the American Heart, or the steps of CPR, and the Red Cross. All of that's been tried and true. And then there's laws out there like the Good Samaritan law that will protect a responder from anything if the victim dies. Now, my product, of course, with any product that's out there, I do carry liability insurance, but the actual steps to CPR, it's not proprietary, and we are protected by law.
And I should jump in. I have taken CPR training. That's not what I want to jump in with, but what I want to jump in with is that what you realize with CPR is that when you're actually doing CPR, you're actually saving a life. It's already done. Like you're in there jumping in to save somebody. It's probably not going to be good if you don't, kind of thing. So that situation, I think that's an important factor. All right, next question.
Alicia, I enjoyed the presentation. I'm curious, could you remind me what the price point is on the unit? And also, do you have any additional services or products you plan to deploy to increase your market opportunity?
Yes, the price point is $14.99, very affordable. That's the way I wanted it. And yeah, we do have other products that are coming out in the long term. So actually, we're going to incorporate technology to it as well, as soon as we get this version out into the world globally. And I also have one for dogs. A lot of people laugh at that one, but people are trying to buy them already. That's coming out next year.
So that's really interesting.
Yeah. Pick up the question.
No, I don't want to take the question time. We'll touch on that in a minute.
Because Frank could talk for hours.
Yep.
How much does it cost to manufacture one unit? And what are your plans for improving margins?
Right. So this is one of my biggest pain points, and I'm so happy to say that we managed to get the price point down. Initially, it was $8 to make the product. Then I got it down to $3.50. Now I'm so happy to say that we got it down for cents to make. Under $1.
Wow.
Under $1. And I'm so ecstatic about that because we do have a lot of companies that want to buy them in bulk. I'm talking about in the millions. And now we can accommodate them and increase our price point, profit margin, actually.
Right.
That's always great news.
Yep. Thanks so much for joining.
Thanks, Felicia. Great to see you.
And I'll talk to you more about the dog version later, another time.
All right, judges, mark your scores. And yeah, fantastic stuff. Yeah, and
I don't want to influence the judging here, so I'm gonna switch gears here and talk about where she's coming from, which is Tennessee, which was a been on the Rise of the Rest tour with Steve Case and Anna Mason and some others before, and they've stopped in Tennessee, a couple different cities, and so there's a lot of great stuff happening there as well. So.
And last year we hosted our Startup of the Year Summit in Memphis. Yes. It was really, really accommodating, welcoming city for us and all of the companies who joined us.
A lot of fun, for sure.
All right. If we're good, everyone good? Then okay. Who's up next?
Next up, we have a company called Fulcrum, and they're out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So let's watch their pitch. But first, I should mention that they're coming from a investment partner, Springtime Ventures referred this company.
Fulcrum is a networked operating system for manufacturing. There are 1.2 million manufacturers in the United States, and most of them aren't the household brands that you know. They're the small and medium-sized manufacturers that are actually creating the components that go into all the things we enjoy on a daily basis. 65% of those manufacturers actively dislike their systems and find that their ERPs are slow, disconnected, and hard to use, and are really a pain to get the job done. There's limited investment, so 14 Series A investments mean that hasn't been that much innovation in the manufacturing space. So compare that 14 with thousands and thousands of investments in other internet spaces. Fulcrum has built an end-to-end operating system that connects all of the pieces of a manufacturing shop into one system that's connected, data-driven, and fast. We've built this with a different design aesthetic from the ground up, focusing on core principles and taking all the best practices from consumer apps and all the apps that we love today and building them into a system that's intuitive and replaces paper, spreadsheets, and other systems that are not designed to get the job done. We've also delivered Fulcrum in a fundamentally different way. So we launch in a matter of a few months rather than years, and we get customers to break even and return on investment far faster than legacy systems on the market today. We've built a team of 19 people that are really focused on the task at hand and planning for the future. In 2020, we've seen great traction. In fact, we've had over 11% month-over-month growth, and we've crested above 101,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Going into 2021, we're set to grow even bigger. In August of this year, we secured $3.1 million in our seed round venture capital fundraising. We're going to use that investment to grow by the end of 2021 to 62 full-time employees and $6.7 million in annual recurring revenue. We're excited about the future of manufacturing, and we've created the network operating system to fuel the future of production. Thank you.
All right, joining us now from Minneapolis is Nick Wassenberg. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks a lot. Great to be here.
All right, let's jump in. Who's got the first question? Don't be shy. Okay, Mark, jump on in.
Why not? Hey, Nick, question, you clearly are bringing on customers fast. Are you having any attrition or how are you seeing holding on to those customers?
Yeah, I mean, we sign our customers up for multi-year contracts, so no churn yet. I mean, in it, really, the emphasis is on continuing to improve the product, so they're continuing to get value. Since it's a software as a service subscription model, we want to continue to improve, and if we don't, they'll obviously not resubscribe. So no churn yet. We'd have to keep our eye on the ball to maintain that path.
All right.
Cheryl here. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Cheryl. Jump on in.
Yeah, a little bit about the automated data collection that you do, because the only problem with small manufacturers is they can't necessarily afford new devices and sensors.
Sure. We can do on job tracking side, we can do pretty low cost solutions in terms of tablets that showcase what you saw in that presentation. So we'll make recommendations. Oftentimes the cost of those tablets is a fraction really of the value that they're going to receive. So we don't get a lot of pushback on that piece of investment when people get it.
You said you had automatic data collection. So what are you doing that doesn't require human input?
Sure. So we integrate with accounting systems, other financial systems. We integrate with tools that monitor actual machines. So that data will be pulled in. And then we also integrate with shipping. So fulfillment systems and order management on the back end, kind of out the back of the shop. So trying to minimize as much of that data entry as we can do.
Nick, great to see you here. I'm curious about ACV, and particularly as many of your kind of ERP competitors, if you will, focus on probably more enterprise or mid-market. Like, what's your kind of expected average contract value per customer, and how does that relate to your cost of acquiring and time and spend?
Yeah, it's a good question. It is early days in a way on that front. I will say that one of the things that's been really, really clear is that the small and medium-sized manufacturers, just as you said, have been a bit neglected by the bigger players, the legacy systems that are in the space. So we really see the accounts and the manufacturers out there that have under 100 million in revenue, and sometimes much lower than that, even down to 1 million in revenue, are our sweet spot. And we can get a system in place for a few $100s a month, which is actually pretty affordable for them for the gains that they get. Time to sale is also really, really distinct for us. We have, instead of a multi-month kind of 90, 120-day sales cycle, we've literally shown the software to a small manufacturer and they've signed the contract that day. So the sales cycles are really short. ACV is solid. We're leveraging and we're scaling up on marketing, so we're getting the cost of acquisition is going down too. Those things scale over time. So we're focused really keenly on those aspects, but we're feeling good about where we are today.
All right. Thanks so much, Nick. Time is up. Did a great job. Thank you, judges, for those great questions. And they're going to be scoring. See you later, Nick.
Thanks a lot.
Stay warm out there. All right. So
remember, all of you at home, to be sharing your thoughts on Twitter or Instagram or your social media of choice.
TikTok, whatever you're on.
Whatever you're on.
Yeah.
Hashtag startup of year.
All right.
Okay, if we're all good, we're going to move on to the next company now. Next, we're going to hear from Gardenio, another top 100 startup from Austin, Texas. They come to us from our partner Div Inc., who bridges the gap between underrepresented entrepreneurs and the resources they need to build high-growth companies. Let's watch their pitch.
There's something kind of magical about the idea of growing your own food at home, of pulling a sprig of rosemary from a bush, tomato from a vine. That sentiment is resonating with more people than ever. The market is at a $52 billion all-time high, double what it was a decade ago. That growth is led by millennials. 80% of new gardeners are between the ages of 18 and 34. They spend the most on food gardening. But for something we've done for 20,000 years, there's still no easy way to start growing food and no post-purchase support. The big box experience is overwhelming, it's fragmented with no guidance. And the do-it-for-you hardware solutions completely miss why people grow at all. We know that the reason people grow is deeply emotional and it's deeply social. So that's why we built Gardenio, a new kind of garden club for new food growers. We send you everything you need every season to grow your own food at home, on a patio or a balcony, with an app and a community to help you as you grow. The good news is people really like it. In our first season, we got our first 100 customers, all spending around $20 a month, with 57% seasonal retention. They love the convenience. They're looking forward to our digital roadmap, and they love the one-to-one customer support. Well, how do you scale something like this? You take the D2C playbook and you scale regionally through our rounds. We get to market through paid social and manage that customer acquisition cost over time with video search and a strong member-based referral system. And we got the team to do it. I've got the past 10 years in startup, 6 of that in growth marketing, 7 of it in user experience design and research. I was a community organizer for President Obama, and I bring that experience to everything that I do. Chelsea Shaw, our technical co-founder, has 7 years in startup tech, design school grad turned full stack developer. We're backed by some amazing people like the former VP of Global Media from Twitter, the founder of Leda, and we've been mentored and advised by some of the greatest minds in direct-to-consumer and consumer tech. We're very interested in talking to people interested in the growth, not just of our plans, but of our business. But let's not forget our mission and why we're here. We're reconnecting people to their food, to their neighbors, and to themselves. And with Gardenio, you don't have to grow it alone.
Excellent. Welcome, Roman Gonzalez. Great to have you here. See you again. Judges, feel free to jump in with questions.
Hi. Thanks for a great pitch. Wanted to hear about, there are definitely competitors on the market, and I wanted to hear about how you feel that you distinguish your product from theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. We put them into 3 buckets. The first one are the big box folks. 64% of the market is spent at Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart's, things like that. We kind of know what that experience is: high friction, high failure rate. Then the second box, and what most people consider the competition, are things like Hamama or Grow Duo or Click and Grow. These are all in the category of what we call garden appliances. And so aside from them being easily replicable overseas, and that's happening, and aside from them being prohibitively expensive, that they really just miss the point of why people grow. Like I said in the pitch, the reason people grow is not for the biggest tomatoes at the end of the day, but for the activity of growing. And we know that from talking to hundreds and hundreds of gardeners. And so they just fundamentally miss the point, are indefensible on a business level. And yeah, so we distinguish by being the only offering on the market, 1, to send you everything you need, soil, completely sustainable setup. 2, by giving any post-purchase support at all. And 3, by that being really tech focused. I'm a tech founder, co-founders, tech founder, and that's the experience we bring.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roman. I enjoyed the presentation. I'm curious, a couple questions quickly. Seasonal retention, how are you defining that? And what are you doing on the kind of community aspect? It sounds like you're trying to deliver a community experience that's unique to you.
Yeah, definitely. So when you look at cohort analysis, or you look at people who got their box in April, did they stay May, June, July? Because they get a box every 3 months. And so in that first cohort, we had that 57% retention. And then on average, overall, we have 54% retention of all the members that we've acquired before. The things that we're doing on the community level, we're in early days there. We know that if we try and release community too early, it's going to be too much to manage with not enough value. So we're waiting to hit an index of customers where we then roll that out. But what we're doing in the meantime, aside from having 75 plus folks help us in our community and sort of building a local rep and building local community, is giving that one-to-one customer support. So somebody reaches out when they have a problem or a question, and we're allowed, then we can learn what those workflows are, what the problems we're seeing are. That way, when we start to automate those flows and really release them into the community, we know a lot more than we did beforehand.
Yeah, one more question probably could squeeze in there. Who's got it?
Hey, Roman, can you talk a little bit more about the acquisition cost? As it ties into the 57%, and then of course, do you have enough data to know kind of the lifetime value of a customer as well at this point?
Try to be quick here, Roman. We're almost out of time.
Yeah. So in our season 3 cohort, which just launched, 50% retention rate is holding. So number 1. 2, it's early days. We have folks that tell us it can be as low as 25 based on comparable research, up to 65. If we can get 45 or lower, we're first purchase profitable. But we've done all you've seen on less than 30K, so we don't have a ton of spend to be able to validate that just yet. But we're raising around, so.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Roman. Judges, get your scores in. Frank, are you a gardener? Tell us about your gardening adventures.
Oh boy. Well, during the pandemic, I immediately went out and bought seeds because I thought for sure we'd be harvesting our own food by this time, actually. Those seeds have yet to be planted.
Nope.
No, not quite done yet, but it's next year for sure. Maybe I need a community like this to help urge me and help me along. But if you are interested in gardening or farming, there's a great new documentary out there. I talk about it on the Somewhat Frank podcast, episode 20. It's out there. You can go subscribe and listen. It's all about regenerative farming.
Yes.
It's called Kiss the Ground.
The no-till movement.
Yeah. So,
right.
Boy, I could talk about farming and gardening for hours. So how are you doing, judges? Must be my Midwestern roots. All right, keep going. We're going to keep on rolling along here. Speaking of gardening, or I guess it's roots, let's watch Leaf Global Fintech out of Denver, Colorado, share their pitch. They're also an alum of Techstars.
My name is Nat Robinson. This is Tori Samples. We're the co-founders of Leaf. Think about the contents of your wallet, your cash, your cards, your identity. Now imagine that you're forced to flee your country. This is the tragic reality facing 68 million people who have had to leave everything behind and carry cash with them across borders. Which is why we created Leaf, a global virtual bank to help the stateless and excluded safely store and transport cash across borders. We're blockchain backed and there's no need for a smartphone or internet connection. Beyond the 68 million, there's another 100 million people facing crisis and could be refugees at any time. In Africa alone, there are 500 million people who rely on cross-border trade for income, and there are 2.4 billion non-smartphone users globally, making our market $42 billion. This is how Leaf operates. Our users can register an account on their mobile phone. They can deposit through local mobile money networks and payment systems, and then cross that border safely without carrying cash. Yet they can receive money from friends and family abroad and withdraw their funds in that new country wherever they're going next.
Product is one global wallet that goes with the customer wherever they go, and it's accessible with a non-smartphone interface and a smartphone app. With this, they can store money over time, send and receive with anyone in the system, cash in and out through mobile money and local payments networks, and we're adding services like loans and insurance soon. We use proven business models like other financial institutions. Like a bank, we invest the savings float. Like a money transmitter, we charge small transaction fees and create a foreign exchange spread between currencies. We don't have physical infrastructure though, and blockchain brings our settlement cost to nearly zero, and so we expect to break even at 7,400 accounts. We just went live 3 weeks ago in 3 countries in East Africa and have already processed over 1,500 transactions. We're a Techstars company and we have partnerships with EcoBank and Western Union around the world. We're very excited to go into another 29 countries in Africa before expanding into markets like Colombia and Venezuela. We have a fantastic team across Africa and the US. Nat's background is in financial services in East Africa. Mine is in technology and refugees. We have expertise across blockchain, foreign exchange, compliance. With this, we are very excited to enable economic security for the stateless and excluded. Thanks.
All right. Joining us, we've got, oh, wow. Okay. We've got 2 co-founders, Nat Robinson and Tori Samples. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, happy to be here.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, Q&A. Let's get some questions rolling here. Judges, who's going to kick it off with the gusto? Bring it. Who's got it?
Oh, why not? Somebody else is jumping in. How about, I mean, this is all well and good. I know some of the systems before have been plagued by bad actors, using them for not the intended purposes, to say the least, right? How do you guys help maintain quality and avoid the bad actor syndrome?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
We've got a fantastic KYC system. We follow all standard Know Your Customer and anti-money laundering checks to make sure that everyone who enters our system is known to us and is keeping our system safe for all other customers. We deal with vulnerable populations, and so it's really important for us to do that. We do consistent transaction monitoring on top of Know Your Customer checks at the beginning of the customer onboarding journey.
Great question. Way to kick it off, Mark. Thank you for the icebreaker. Who else has questions?
How do you distinguish yourselves from other companies that are doing similar things?
Sure. I think our big differentiation from a lot of the mobile wallets that are out there is that we have both smartphone and non-smartphone capabilities. So we work with a technology called USSD that someone who doesn't have a smartphone can still access the services. And that represents, as I said, globally about 2.4 billion people and a little more than half of the market that we're looking at in East Africa. So I think the other advantage we have is that we've been building this on a blockchain backend that helps make those cross-border transactions really cheap, very secure, and very fast.
Hi, Cheryl. Are you planning to add in, a financial wellness or wealth management tools on top of this for the people that are storing money with you?
Yeah, in addition to that, also some financial literacy work. I think actually this week we've been exploring some platforms that help with in-app communication and training. So that's a very, I think, straightforward process to integrate into our app, and is also needed as there's not. I spent 7 years working in East Africa and Kenya, and financial literacy is definitely a challenge. So not only providing people with the tools to be able to save and store their money, but also understand how to invest and to take loans, for example, responsibly. So yes, that's coming. Being able to deliver that training through the app.
Thank you.
I can squeeze in one more question. If no one has it, let us know. Ronnie, go ahead.
Yeah, what is the go-to-market strategy, especially as you start moving into new countries? How do you acquire users?
Yeah, we're working through organic word of mouth networks as our primary means of acquiring customers. They're extremely trusted and it's very cheap and very effective. We're also doing online digital marketing above and below the lines. Very excited about that. And moving into, again, additional 29 countries here in Africa through partnership model with EcoBank.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us both, Nat and Tori. It's great to see you. Judges.
Thank you, guys.
Let's get our scores in.
I'm glad Ronnie asked that question, because that was the biggest question on my mind, is how do you reach people, especially when they're potentially in a very desperate situation, time of need, things aren't expected.
I think we may have advised our judges there when we were talking about gardening and farming. They thought this was going to be about gardening and farming. This is a bigger issue.
Much bigger issue. Honestly, displacement is happening everywhere around the globe. It's a huge issue. We read about it. I shouldn't say it's a bigger issue.
It's a different issue.
Different issue.
Yes.
Yes. Food security.
It's definitely an issue too.
All right. If you guys have your scores in, then I think we can move on to our next company, which is Leda Health from New York. Let's hear their pitch.
Hi, I'm Lisa Vaidya, and I'm the co-founder and CTO at Leda Health. Leda Health is a company transforming the existing systems around sexual assault prevention and care. We hope to facilitate justice for every survivor on their own terms. 77% of survivors do not report their assault, which means that they do not capture that time-sensitive forensic evidence to prove that they were assaulted. During COVID-19, survivors have been actively turned away from hospitals nationwide as they were considered non-essential patients. The process in the hospitals is often re-traumatizing, takes anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, and is quite outdated and uses absolutely no technology whatsoever. Our lead product is an at-home sexual assault evidence collection kit, which uses patent-pending tamper-proof devices, blockchain, and the entire process can be completed in under 15 minutes with results in 14 days. During COVID-19, self-use kits were used at least twice in California, bringing resources to survivors when they had no other option. We are beyond a kit company. We provide holistic care, including emergency contraceptive, STI testing, as well as support groups. Each survivor costs the U.S. $130,000, making the market for innovation billions in dollars in the U.S. alone. We have built a huge team to help us with our advisors, lawyers, advocates, nurses, to our 70-plus team. We have over 60 universities in our pipeline and 1 corporate partner, and we're ready to scale. This fall, we're introducing our first private beta. We built technology to ensure that chain of custody is being maintained through the use of tamper-proof devices, as well as a blockchain-based application. Solving this problem is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and we already have early adopters projecting our revenue to be over $6.9 million in the first year alone. So I leave you with this. What side of history do you want to be on?
All right, welcome to the stage, Madison Campbell. Thank you for being here today.
Hi, everyone. That's my better half, Liesl, our CTO, but really happy to be here.
All right, judges, jump in with questions.
Hi, Madison. I'm curious, is when you're expecting customers to purchase your product or you have your product, do they have this on hand in preparation for an event, or is this something how is that workflow or experience?
Yeah, so, we're focusing on the college age population right now. So I'm a sexual assault survivor. I was raped on my college campus. 1 in 4 college students are raped. And so what we're doing is a B2B2C business model. We're going to universities and we're giving these kits out during freshman orientation to both men and women. So they have it on hand, but also creating a psychological deterrent on campus. I know that you know that every single person has one of these. So although reporting is going to go up initially, we believe incidents over time will go down. Now, of course, COVID has kind of been very, detrimental to the university market. A lot of folks not going back to school. So we also have the ability to do a direct to consumer last mile shipping, be able to text from your phone and within 2 hours get a kit delivered to you.
Awesome. Wow. And just a quick follow-up. Do you have relationships existing with universities today? And then do you imagine, are universities expected to play a role in the workflow of getting these kits to the right place and through a process that's,
Yeah. So we're piloting at 1 university right now. We're going to be slowly adding more universities over the next upcoming months. We're collecting a lot of data around that, and we believe that universities is where the problem persists to be incredibly large in at least America. And so we're going to be focusing on that market to begin with.
So on the data privacy side, so does your system store all of the results, which means that in theory you could tie together multiple incidents to the same person committing an event? And do you have any worry about having that kind of information, or are you scrambling it so that kind of thing would not be possible?
Yep. So we're scrambling it. We're using unique identifiers. And that's also why we built our back end using Ethereum. So really, putting privacy at the forefront of what we're doing, creating the first chain of custody system on the blockchain, which is, kind of an interesting applicability of the technology. And yes, over time we do have the ability with more and more tests that kind of come out to match, multiple perpetrators or multiple survivors to one perpetrator. The statistic I'm pretty sure is, on average, one perpetrator will rape up to 6 women before they are actually caught. And so if we can get that down to 1 to 2, that would be amazing.
Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about the legal aspects of it and it being held up in court?
Yep. So there's already been kits piloted during COVID-19. They've all entered the court system with no chain of custody or admissibility problems. The district attorney went on record to say that. So basically, this evidence, like a hospital rape kit, will be held up to, a very similar standard if it is relevant and reliable under the federal rules of evidence.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys.
Everyone, work on your scores. Thank you for doing that important work. And switching topics a little bit, everyone out there, if you've got an idea, maybe you have an important idea that you want to solve or work on, then go out there and get your free domain today, est.us/summitus. I feel like everyone out there has something that they've been, thinking about stewing on for years, and the world needs your ideas out there. So, great opportunity.
All right, we're going to keep moving along here. This train's got to keep going. So let's hear it for our next. What's that?
The startup train.
The startup train, right? So our next company is called Terro, and they're out of this city of industry in California. Let's watch their pitch.
Hi, my name is Robert Law. I'm the founder and CEO of Terro. 40% of the food that we produce around the world goes to waste every single year. Amongst that, 128 million tons of milk are being dumped. Why can't we upcycle all these food waste and turn them into solution that we can be used to replace plastic packaging? That is when my company, Terro, invented a new technology that extracts the protein from inedible food waste and turn it into packaging material to replace plastic. Our solution could potentially apply to any type of protein food waste. In the past, the polymer that we have created from protein food waste has been made into the milk waste fiber that you see right here, which can be made into t-shirt. Right now, we're focusing our technology on the packaging film that you see right here. It is home compostable, edible, and has great water and oxygen barrier. Our film will cost lesser than other bio-based materials while resembling the performance of PET. We plan to scale up by forming joint ventures with different food waste suppliers that includes dairy and plant-based suppliers. We partner with brands to create innovative solutions for their packaging material. Maybe one day, our technology can enter people's home to help them create sustainable product from their own food waste. Harada Corporation in Japan has already purchased our milk fiber to create it into a apparel line. We're now working with Dole and Arla to commercialize and develop our packaging film, which is an urgent need for the world. Our business model is hardware plus software. We develop our own extraction machine. We have the process that turns all these protein polymer into sustainable products to replace plastic materials. We have a team of serial entrepreneurs. I've started 3 companies with 2 exits, PhD material scientists, chemists, and marketing experts. We plan to scale up and start producing at the end of 2021. And in starting 2022, we plan to reach a commercialized scale production. Thank you.
All right. Joining us from Terro is Robert Luo. And I think, there he is. And really interesting stuff. So who's got the first question? Jump on in. Remember to unmute.
Robert, is your goal to manufacture or to help other companies manufacture this film?
Yeah, so right now we're manufacturing the packaging material on our own. But as we move forward, we intend to license our technology so other companies can manufacture on their production site.
Do you have an idea on the switching costs of switching out machinery for manufacturing, existing plastics or what they're currently doing, how that the potential cost to switch over to you in their manufacturing process?
There's no extra cost that can be used on existing plastic packaging machines.
What could these things be packaged? What kind of packaging materials could be made out of this? Anything or specific?
So think of the saran wrap we have at home, the food wrap. That would be the first type, and that's the most and hardest recyclable product in the world. And it could also be made to detergent type of packaging product as well, like Tide Pods, the washing pods that we have at home. That's usable, and it can also be made into organic waste bags because the 4 sides can be sealed, which makes a great grocery bag or organic waste bag.
Oh, very cool.
So how durable are these materials compared to their normal market alternatives, whether it be, a t-shirt or, a replacement for plastic? Or what other downsides are there to using this material?
But in terms of fiber, it's very durable. It's comparable to organic cotton. And we have made into t-shirt, and our customer have purchased our shirt fiber made into clothing, such as RAD Corporation. As for packaging material, we resemble the performance of traditional LDPE.
How about the acquisition of the actual, food waste materials? How do you make sure to get in and logistically on that supply chain and make sure that you're not making it harder for the people in waste management who are already dealing with that?
Great question. We co-locate our technology on site. For example, we partner with dairy farmers in America and pilot our machine in their Maryland plant. So we purify the protein and ship to a centralized location to continue to do the production, whether it's fiber or it's packaging material. The technology could also apply to plant-based material, such as soy and spent grain. And we're now talking with Budweiser to help them upcycle their spent grain.
Oh, interesting.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. I think we're at about time. I don't think we can squeeze anything else in there. So thanks so much, Robert, for joining us.
Thank you.
Great questions, everyone. It's really fascinating stuff to be able to turn milk into something that could be used.
Every time I get like a little bit down on the world, all I have to do is go through all these companies and I feel so hopeful.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. And just a reminder for everyone watching, you can voice your opinion as well. You can vote for the People's Choice Award right now, est.us/poll. It'll be closed later today. So after all the pitches today, you'll be able to vote up until the end of the day, and then we're going to announce the winner soon after the competition.
All right.
Wait, where's it going to be announced though?
Oh, so we're not actually announcing it today, the poll winner. We're going to wait and announce the People's Choice on the Startup of the Year podcast, which will also feature today's grand prize winner. So make sure you subscribe to our podcast and don't miss it.
It's everywhere that podcasts can be found.
Yes. All right. Our next competitor today is MITO Materials from Indianapolis, Indiana. They're another Techstars alum and received a fast track spot to this summit by winning our female founder pitch event in May. Let's hear their pitch.
Seems like forever ago.
I know, it really does.
During the 2020 pandemic, climatologists verified a long-time suspicion. One of the largest contributors to ozone pollution is freight trailers, the hulky bulky hunks of metal carrying your food, your goods, and packages across the country. They need to lose weight without sacrificing performance in order to cut pollution and maintain efficiencies. Their best option is composite materials, which include carbon fiber, fiberglass, and thermoplastics, most of which are 40% lighter and 10 times stronger than aluminum. But composites have their limitations. They crack, fracture, and break because the plastic holding them together is brittle. And this prevents composites from being the go-to choice. At MITO Materials, we produce patented graphene modifiers with a proprietary functionalization technique. Our process creates the secret ingredient that the industry has been missing, an additive with chemical and physical bonding points, enabling manufacturers to create tougher, lighter, and more durable products. Our products deliver performance with 5 times less material than other leading competitors. That means with only 2 pounds of MITO, you can increase the performance of all the plastic parts in 5 Ford F-150s. The team that we've assembled around MITO is a balanced mix of technical and business experience with chemical, manufacturing, sales, and composites experience. We've also established strong partnerships that include Techstars, the National Science Foundation, and a group of investors that just helped us close a Series Seed round in the midst of a pandemic. This traction is just another point of validation that MITO's technology is needed in the market. Our first piloting customer is the largest freight trailer manufacturer who's making the transition from metal to composites. MITO Materials was able to push the material performance of their side panels 135% beyond the more costly option with no added manufacturing time, hitting the benchmarks they needed to make the dream a reality. A lighter freight trailer that will reduce emissions by 40% while maintaining the same manufacturing process and load capacity. At MITO Materials, we've built a unique platform of patented additives that we sell directly to manufacturers. To date, our pipeline has a total opportunity of $124 million with customers spanning across transportation, marine, and aerospace. Whether we help them achieve sustainability goals by cutting emissions or waste, or increase their efficiency by shedding 1 million pounds of plastic from their line per year, MITO Materials is empowering our customers to transition from lighter, more durable materials so that when a product is made with MITO, you know it's made better. Thanks.
All right. Welcome, Haley Marie Keith. Great to see you again.
Yeah, great to see you again. Thanks so much for having me and organizing this event.
Absolutely. All right, judges, jump in.
I'm curious about the graphene you mentioned in in your product? Are you manufacturing that yourself? And what are your costs there?
We do not manufacture graphene. We actually purchase it, and then we work with graphene oxide, which is actually a different variation of graphene. And so we're one of the only companies that are commercializing a product where we do not actually produce graphene, but we're functionalizing it and creating an additive that is independent and then commercializing that into the marketplace.
Do you have some, you gave a bunch of great like enterprise type applications here. Do you have some like, how does this make it into the everyday consumer world?
Yeah. Our pipeline has a variety of different industries because we're selling one product as a versatile solution. So we are actually right now really working with some sporting good manufacturers in the skiing and snowboarding arenas. And we're working with them on creating tougher, more durable and lighter skis and snowboards.
Anything like that happen where you're at, Marc?
Yeah, you picked the right person for that answer. I'm in Colorado, so.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Ronnie, do you have a question? Sorry, looked like you might have.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Cheryl was about to jump in or not.
Okay. Go ahead, Ronnie.
I'm curious a little bit. Can you go into more detail just about the business model and the different pricings you have for the different materials and what that looks like?
Yeah, so we have one product that's commercially available. We're working with industry experts on scaling and manufacturing, so we're contracting all of that out. Our price point is in the process of being scaled, just like our material, but we are definitely industry competitive because we use 5 times less material than our other leading competitors. So, and we're getting better benefits. So we also have 3 products that are in development. We've received several SBIR grants that have allowed us to continue our research and development on growing our portfolio of products. And essentially what we're building is this platform of additive technology that will be able to be scaled and inserted directly into industry and manufacturing opportunities in a variety of industries. So our additive is essentially polymer agnostic. It works in thermosets and thermoplastic opportunities. And our business model is really to work with the people who are manufacturing the parts, the skis, the trucks, the trailers, so they can understand the value because they reap it, right? So if they can make a lighter trailer, a more durable part, they're seeing the immediate value for their customers. And because of that, we're actually introduced to their suppliers, which are the resin or the plastic producers, and we work with them to integrate into their system.
Makes sense. So is your biggest hurdle then communicating this, like getting it out to those people and sharing the message?
Educating the market about the products that we have and the benefit that you can reap throughout the entire value chain is definitely one of our biggest hurdles that we're working through right now, which is why events like this are so helpful because we can kind of show the big picture and what we really can do with such a small amount of product.
Awesome.
That's great.
Thank you so much, Haley.
Thank you.
All right, judges, complete your scores. You just heard us mention our Female Founder event that took place in May. From March through September, we hosted these sort of preliminary pitch competitions that were focused on various groups. So we focused on female founders, Black founders, the US veteran founders, as well as a South by Southwest event and a special COVID-19 event that we did with some of our alumni.
And we are recapping some of them for you during the summit. If you haven't joined us for those yet, there's been a few of them, and we're also, if you missed them, you can watch them again, or they're also out on our YouTube channel, which is established YouTube channel. So go check that out. And judges, we good? All right. Next up, we've got Perimeter out of Berkeley, California.
Over the past few years, many of you have seen images of cities that look something like this. 5 of the 6 worst fires in California history have taken place this year alone, and other disasters have been spreading nationwide. My name is Bailey Farron, and I'm the daughter of 2 first responders. After my family had to evacuate from the record-setting Tubbs Fire in 2017, I learned that first responders and firefighters like my dad are relying on World War II technology to contain these fires: radios and paper maps. Perimeter is here to change that. We are bringing real-time situational intelligence to public safety. Here's how it works. Using a simple Google Maps-style interface, first responders can collect, input, and share information in real time with each other and citizens. In 2018, California spent over $18 billion in response to fires, but this problem is a lot bigger than California and a lot bigger than wildfires. The Chamber of Commerce predicts that the US will be spending up to $347 billion per year on natural disasters of all kinds. At our pricing, capturing federal, state, and over 3,000 county governments represents a serviceable addressable market of $7.4 billion. This fire season, we brought on our first paying customer and are preparing to launch with dozens more. We completed Alchemist Accelerator, won the Wesley Prize for Social Innovation, and started raising our seed round. Our team is composed of UC Berkeley engineers and graduates, firefighters, and government officials, giving us the background we need to have an impact in this space. By empowering first responders and citizens with the intuitive geospatial information they need to make decisions, Perimeter is poised to become the standard mapping platform, not just for response, but for all aspects of emergency management. To learn more about our seed round and what we're doing this fire season, feel free to reach out.
All right, joining us is Bailey Farron. Welcome, Bailey.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
All right, let's begin. So got the timer popping in here with Bessie. Who's got the first question for Perimeter and Bailey?
Hey, Bailey.
Hi there.
What is the workflow of the actual users of the platform? So the firefighters or the first responders, the people out there, how do they input and what type of data do they input into the platform?
Absolutely. So as you probably can see, it's a dynamic mapping platform that aggregates a lot of the incident information that would already be relevant to a first responder, for example. So that might be wind speed, wind direction, the humidity of the fuel or vegetation, that's already there. However, oftentimes first responders have information about how the fire perimeter has developed, where different hazards might be on an incident map. And so they can input information like that to share between agencies, as well as with citizens who might need to respond by evacuating.
All right.
Hey, Bailey, Mark. It sounds like you've got this out in use with a beta customer, or at least one customer so far. How have you been able to kind of objectify or make tangible the benefits? You know, is it cost savings? Is it the time, the efficiency? How are you quantifying the real savings impact?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it's a little bit interesting because we're saving them so much time that it's actually a little bit bizarre. Here's an example. Right now, fire chiefs on an incident like a wildfire are spending about 40% of their time locating where their personnel are using a radio, and then they jot down those locations on a paper map. Right now, we take that process and we make it happen in 3 seconds because they can see all of their personnel on a map. And so right now we're working to quantify that in the most simple way possible, but for our customers, the value proposition is sort of through the roof.
Wow, the current method sounds pretty archaic.
It is.
So speaking of, I'm in Napa Valley and I completely understand what you're trying to solve because I have to have, 12 plus windows open just to understand. But, going back with that, there's a big role of citizens here. Some of our most famous fire reporters are citizens and need the ability to contribute. But that can also be bad data. Are you planning to integrate, the social media, because tweets are obviously a big part of it? And how is there going to be a regulation, or pruning admin side to saying, okay, we trust this person, they can put their stuff on the map. Oh, we have no idea if this data is good, it's on Nextdoor. How are you thinking about how you're pooling all this other stuff together so I'm not having to look at 20 sites for hearsay stuff that may or may not be true?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, something that our customers and users bring up all the time. And so what we've done is we've built out an interface that allows citizens, when they go to the platform just through the website, they can input information like you would with Waze about what they're seeing. However, for that information to then be on the public perimeter map, first responders and public information officers actually have to vet it and approve the information for being published. And so that's how we make sure that the information is always vetted and always accurate for the people who need to respond.
Thank you.
All right. Great questions, everyone.
Thanks, Bailey.
Thanks, Bailey.
Thank you so much.
All right. The earth is a-changing.
Yes.
Seems like every single day. Natural disasters like fires and hurricanes and more. Lots going on. I think recently I watched a film or a movie, a TV show. I guess I don't know what it was. An episode? What would you call it? Even?
TV show.
New show. Yeah, on no, it's not. Yeah, Netflix with called Everything's Fine, and it's with Sarah Cooper, who we've known from the tech industry. She's now kind of got her own thing going on. But anyway, there's a weather forecast in there with Maya Rudolph, which is, if you haven't seen it yet, kind of hits the nail right in the head.
Flaming snowmen. Anyone?
Yep. It's all happening all at once.
All right. So if our judges are ready, we're going to move on to the next company. Presso from Atlanta, Georgia. Let's hear their pitch.
Hello, my name is Thibaut Courtens. I'm the co-founder and CTO at Presso. Presso is an AI-powered robot that can clean, press, and disinfect clothing in under 5 minutes. We are solving the problem of long turnaround time of traditional laundry and dry cleaning services by creating a new market for instant clothing care. How Presso works is you simply put in a garment, then you select what it is, and then Presso uses a combination of pressurized steam, proprietary cleaning liquids, and our patent-pending robotic stretching to get your clothes ready to wear instantly. We're starting out with enterprise customers, where we rent out Presso on a monthly subscription. These include costume departments in the entertainment industry and apparel retailers, because these markets are easier to succeed early on, and they help us accelerate product development as they have trained operators on site, and they also have a high volume of garments. As we add higher layers of automation, we plan to bring the service to the people in hotels, airports, apartment complexes, or wherever they are, and eventually as an appliance that all of us can have at home. We have conducted 8 pilot projects in multiple markets and have over 95 robots currently signed, worth more than $2 million in potential ARR. We have just started seeing early signs of product market fit with more demand that we can fulfill from every major studio in the US, like HBO, Netflix, Hulu, Disney, and Apple. And I started Presso together with Nishant, my co-founder, who I've been friends with for over 7 years now. With Nishant's expertise in autonomous robotics and my background in manufacturing and industrial automation, we've been able to build a team of 11 people, along with an amazing set of investors. And our vision is to make instant clothing care a reality for all of us.
All right. Welcome, Thibaut Courtens. Great to have you here.
Hi, thanks.
All right, judges, jump in.
Before you do, please send one of those to my house.
Yeah.
I'm curious what your revenue is looking like. I know you're running these 8 pilots. So what is the revenue looking like?
So right now, these 8 pilots have ended. And because of COVID, we also switched. That's why we switched from focusing on hotels to enterprises. And we just started actually putting in machines in New York on TV shows and movie sets. So this is our first revenue for the company. So we're very happy. We switched from pre-revenue to revenue now since last month, basically. Especially during COVID, so that's definitely good. But the way it works is it's kind of like a subscription model, and we work with the studios, either the studio location itself or costume designers and the project managers, let's say, of TV shows or movie sets, to kind of lease it on the go, and they roll over as they switch shows.
You mentioned that beyond kind of the entertainment industry, the hotels, laundromats, some of those, how do you make sure that you get nice alignment with them? Because that could be a real revenue driver. How do you make sure that you don't kind of disrupt their own business model and revenue?
Yeah, of course. So the way we would work, the way our revenue model works really depends on the industry we work with. The best way we saw working, for instance, previously with hotels is we either do a revenue share agreement or an ad hoc / revenue share agreement. It also depends whether they want to do it behind the scenes and just offer dry cleaning services at a much faster turnaround time, or if they want to showcase the machine and let the travelers do it themselves as some sort of a special perk. So it really depends on who we're working with. And of course, we always try and make the revenue model work for both of them. So it's also an income for them, if anything.
Go ahead, Cheryl.
Okay, so you identified a pretty large market opportunity in your slides, and Samsung and a bunch of other companies have technology that's kind of the same. I mean, it's a steaming, shaking closet. It's not quite as great, but if there's so much money there, how are you going to protect yourself so that some other company just doesn't come in and make kind of a similar machine and already have superior COGS and deployability?
Yeah, of course. So we have 2 patents pending right now. One is basically for all the separate technology that goes in it, anywhere from robotic stretching as well as our some specific components within the machine. And then the second patent is basically the idea of having a dry cleaner in a vending machine almost. So those are pending right now.
All right, and time's up. Thanks so much, Thibaut.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
And really, who wants to iron anymore?
No, I don't. That's what I said. I was hoping you'd send me one. Maybe they'll be coming up here soon.
But we never need them anymore.
Well, look at this.
We got fancy today.
Right. No, I've been sitting here for days.
Right. All right. Who's next?
Oh.
That's you.
Yeah, it is me. All right, next up, we've got out of Dallas, Texas, Rosy. Let's watch their pitch.
Dr. Harper, I love my partner, but I don't care if we ever have sex again. I heard this every single day in my practice as an OBGYN, and this wasn't just my patients. 43% of women have a sexual problem. In contrast to the field for men, women and their doctors don't have the resources they need to solve these sexual health problems. In fact, 1.9 billion women in the world need our help, and that leaves a $39 billion market opportunity. In response to this infuriating inequity, I left practice and started Rosy. Rosy's a technology company that creates solutions for women's sexual health. We launched our first product, a freemium-based subscription app, in 2019. Rosy is the first evidence-based platform that provides education, self-help, and access to specialists in the field of women's sexual health. Now women and their doctors have a trusted and comprehensive resource for sexual health problems. Since our launch, we partnered with more than 2,800 healthcare providers who recommend Rosy to their patients. We have a conversion rate that's double industry average, and we've helped more than 25,000 women. Our all-women team has a unique subject matter expertise, a clear vision, and a drive to execute. In the last 6 months, we've launched Rosy Community and Rosy Telehealth, and we've launched new classes, including groundbreaking information for cancer patients and survivors of sexual trauma. We closed our first fundraising round of $1.15 million. We're motivated by our mission and we'll stop at nothing to see it through. There are a few other solutions in the market, but none with the comprehensive approach to sexual health that Rosy employs. This complexity is the ultimate opportunity for growth and scale as we create new solutions for our users. Now armed with the largest data set to contribute to this understudied field, and our army of healthcare providers and users who are standing up for women, Rosy is unstoppable. The momentum we've achieved in this short amount of time is a clear message that women need a safe place for evidence-based resources for sexual health, and we are thrilled to create that space at Rosy. Thank you.
All right, joining us is Lindsay Harper. Welcome, Lindsay.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
All right. Next, who's got the first question here?
Hey, Lindsay. Can you talk about what you mean by evidence-based?
Yes, thank you for asking. That's my jam. So whenever women are searching for tools or advice to help with sexual wellness, oftentimes they're Googling or they're seeking out more marketing-based companies, for example, Goop, and they might come across jade eggs or some salves or creams that were just, concocted to help them. But everything that we talk about in Rosy, we have data to support, evidence behind us. It comes from medical literature. The core of who we are doctors and psychologists and therapists. And so we're never going to recommend anything on the platform or through the platform that there's not data to back up.
Great question.
I'm curious, it sounds like you're also possibly getting into telemedicine. Is that right? Where you can write prescriptions for different creams and stuff like that. How is that model looking in terms of where are you seeing that you're generating the revenue from? Is it more from the telemedicine side? Is there a cost to the app? I did see that people were converting. So curious the breakdown of that.
Yeah, so the telehealth piece launched in Texas just over the summer. And so, the volume of people that we're seeing is a lot less than obviously we're able to see through the app, which is nationwide. However, the cost per visit obviously is much higher on the telehealth side. So the margins are much higher. I think that at scale, there's a lot of opportunity in the telehealth realm. And we're different because we offer connections to medical providers like myself and also sex therapists as well. So what we're really trying to build is this comprehensive multidisciplinary approach to women's sexual health, which includes education, behavioral change, the medical side, and the mental health side. And I really feel that when all these pieces come together, that's when women, have the best results.
Hi, Lindsay. Have you been able to, I'm curious, any data you're able to share on results you've been able to have with your customers, and then also even beyond results, just engagement over time. I think I saw something like 25,000 downloads. I'm curious how women are engaging over time.
Yeah, that number is now 31,000 since I made that pitch. But we actually were able to publish and present at a medical conference in March about Rosy's efficacy when treating women with sexual dysfunction. So in the realms of desire, arousal, lubrication, and pain, Rosy showed a statistically significant difference from onboarding to the next time that they were administered that quiz, which is 30 days later after usage of Rosy. And we were also able to correlate that the more a user used Rosy, the more benefit that she saw. So we were super pumped about that. And we, have customers who subscribe to the app for either 1 month or 6 months. And that engagement, is usually several times a week and ongoing for at least, that 4 to 6 month time with about a 20% churn each month.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks so much, Lindsay. Really appreciate you joining us here.
Thank you.
All right. Rosy reminds me of another company we've had come through the program, was a top 5 finalist, Unbound, which is led by Polly Rodriguez, who actually spoke yesterday at the summit in one of our spotlight sessions and also was recently featured on our podcast. So go listen to a great interview about what she's been up to with her sexual wellness company.
Yep, it's an important category that hasn't had a lot of attention in the past. So we've been happy to see these companies come along. All right, so next up, we have Southie Autonomy from Boston, Massachusetts. They're an alumni from the Air Force Accelerator powered by Techstars. Let's watch their pitch.
Hi, I'm Rahul Triplicati. I'm the CEO of Southie Autonomy, and we make a no-code software platform for easy robot retasking. Today, the barriers to using a robot are so high that it costs 5 times the price of the robot just to get to do one task over and over again, let alone many tasks. This is because it requires non-recurring engineering costs every time the task changes. So, at Southie, we're eliminating these barriers. With our full robotic solution and patented software, anyone on the factory floor can use a robot with simple gestures in less than 10 minutes. No coding, no programming required. This means you can change tasks every day and still get payback on your robot. We make flexible automation possible for any worker while staying affordable for customers. Southie Autonomy's solution opens a $40 billion market by making automation accessible to new markets. We're generating revenue today with paid pilots, and we're transitioning these into commercial contracts. Our customer focus is the contract packaging industry, where repetitive packing or kitting is still being done manually today. We offer a robot as a service model with the plan to partner with major integrators and distributors across the robotics industry. All the other robotic solutions out there still require some level of programming. This also means that they aren't as flexible and as fast as manufacturers need them to be. Our advantage is that any worker at any skill level can retask the robot in less than 10 minutes. No other solution on the market can offer that. Before starting Southie, we cut our teeth building robots for DARPA, finding ways for military personnel to easily use robots during their missions. Now we're expanding this across commercial manufacturing. We're Southie Autonomy, and we make on-the-fly robot retasking easy and affordable for everyone. Thank you.
Welcome, Rahul Triplicati. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Let's jump in with questions.
Rahul, I'm curious, with the pilots that you're converting, what were the main value propositions they were looking to validate, and how have you performed on that so far?
Yeah, the value proposition is to be able to augment their current workers. Right, even before COVID and now with COVID, it's hard for them to find enough workers to do the kind of work we're talking about. They're also very low value tasks that people are doing. Picking stuff up and putting it in boxes, robots can do that. It's just, could you be able to get ROI on that when the task changes a lot? That's the value proposition, is to expand and augment kind of their throughput, generate revenue for them.
Was there a measurement that they're looking to hit, or?
They're typically throughput measurements that you'd find with any other robot system. How many packs can I make per minute and per hour? And then the other factor is, can I have my floor staff maintain that robot? I don't have to call in the automation expert or call up you guys to always have to babysit the robot. Can my staff do it without having to call us?
So what's the startup cost basically for a company to jump in and onboard and kind of adopt this system?
Yeah, we definitely think that's a barrier to traditional robots. So what we do is we have basically an upfront cost that's a fraction of what you normally pay for a full robotic cell. And then we have a monthly cost that's basically less than a temp worker over a two-year contract.
Any more questions? What's your biggest hurdle?
There are some cultural hurdles here. People, especially when we talk about co-packers or small to medium businesses that aren't used to automating with robotic technology, there's a little bit of a fear factor there. So one of the things that we're trying to make it easy for, and we learned this in the military or defense industry, is that you need to make it easy for anyone to be able to use it and not be afraid of it. Can I simply talk to the robot like maybe I might talk to another worker? Have them quickly tell the system, well, what is the task at a really high level? And then our software will convert that into a robot program that the robot will understand and know how to go. So really that barrier is the skill and cost that it takes to get a robot up and running. We're lowering that.
Got it.
Great.
Any other competitors in the space that you can talk about?
Yeah, so when we look out into the market, it's really just a lot of manual packing. For the reasons that we kind of just talked about. There are a couple of folks that are trying to make it easier to program. It still requires some programming knowledge. So Ready Robotics is a great example. There's folks out there like Vicarious that actually need their very well-trained machine learning experts to help get the system up and running. So no one's out there that's really hitting that speed of changeover that we're getting there.
All right, and time is up. Thanks so much, Rahul. Great having you here today.
Thanks for the time.
All right, while our judges enter their scores, we'll just mention that the Air Force Accelerator that Southie went through is that we've had the privilege of working with part of that group. So AFWorks and AF Ventures, we had the privilege of developing their innovation playbook for the Air Force through AF Ventures, which is being featured in an AMA in another channel today.
Yep.
Jason Rapchi is here, and if anyone wants to chat with him, you can jump into the AMA.
But don't leave here. We love you. Just if you have an opportunity, you want to do that maybe for a second, go over there for a second, and then come back.
Come right back here. Yeah.
But,
and if you're interested in seeing that playbook, you can go to established.us/programs.
My favorite's the flea flicker. Just different playbook, but
totally different
playbook, but similar setup. But we're also working with other organizations to help them with their innovation needs. So if you're looking for that kind of help with strategy and ecosystem development, we can help you.
All right, who's next?
Our next company is called Spira. They're out of Los Angeles, California. They were a alum of the can't read anymore. They're out of Halcyon, which is out in DC, as well as Lighthouse Labs. There you go.
Hi, my name is Elliot Roth, and I'm the founder of Spira. Spira creates carbon-negative replacements for artificial colorants and animal proteins using CRISPR-edited algae. We work with a network of global farms as a means of producing ingredients to enable a healthier and more sustainable supply chain. Now, have you ever walked around after it rained and looked at the asphalt? That rainbow shimmer is leftover oil gunk, and it's what's used to dye the clothes we wear, the foods we eat, and the cosmetics we put on our skin. Nowhere is this more apparent than the food industry, leading to a massive opportunity for pigments for food, cosmetics, and textiles. In particular, the food industry has agreed to phase out all artificial colors by 2022. Now, when you look at red from beets and orange from carrots, you really look into nature, and there's no good option for blue. That is, until now. Spira creates Electric Sky, a carbon-negative replacement for blue dye number 1 that's perfect for food, textile, and cosmetic companies. Don't take it from us. One of our customers said if we can make a stable, natural blue, they would purchase as much of it as we could produce. This has led to over 1,000 prospective clients and $33.6 million in potential revenue. Now, we can't fulfill this demand due to lack of on-hand capital. Our business model works by us working on the strains themselves, engineering the algae, then going to the farms, having them contract manufacture for us, and then processing that into plant-based protein and colorants here in Los Angeles. This enables us to have a low operating expense and virtually no capital expenses. It looks like this: large outdoor open ponds in which the farmers process this. We've enabled 100 farmers to have jobs indirectly, captured thousands of tons of CO2 through farming, and enabled 65 or more companies to displace more harmful ingredients from their supply chain. I come from a background in biotechnology. My chief scientist has worked in algae for 15 years. Our COO has a background of experience doing project work for NASA, and our director of business development has a depth of experience in food sales. So come grow with us. We're Spira. Thank you.
All right. Welcome, Elliot Roth from Spira.
Pleasure to meet all of you.
All right, so who wants to jump in with the first question?
Sure. Hey, Elliot, really intriguing for sure. I guess on one level, this is more natural, but it's still technically not all natural. What are the potential conflicts with kind of that NGO, no NGO, and then, all like the extension would that be, do you have any studies or any proof points or anything for just potential health side effects?
Yeah. So when it comes to larger companies, they don't particularly care too much about genetic engineering or non-genetic engineering. So the companies listed out, if you're producing M&Ms, you don't particularly care that the colors going into M&Ms are natural or not. They're just going for a more sustainable method of production. And then in addition, we've had letters of intent from some of these major companies. And so it kind of proves that out on that end of things. In particular for us, we're focused on non-GMO in the European market and then GMO for the US market. And what that means is that we can actively pursue a multitude of industries. For cosmetics and textiles in particular, they don't care about genetic engineering. And so those are the larger market opportunities we're going after in the future.
Great question.
I see that in the future, you're hoping to be able to manufacture medicine and any other components. Is there anything unreliable about this production method, or really any other problems that would make it not suitable for creating certain substances?
Yeah, I mean, part of what we pride ourselves on is the reliability of this production method. It's really a new form of manufacturing that's carbon negative. And so that means that we can use the same type of algae to produce anything that petrochemicals produces, as well as animal proteins. And so that's what we're scaling up to. Some of our farmers have been growing continuously for 20 plus years, no problems whatsoever.
Thank you.
Is the plan to expand to other colors? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we plan to expand to a full spectrum of colors. We already have certain types of algae that, you have the full rainbow of colors coming from the ocean. And so we have the ability to expand to other colors as well.
I was going to ask, what are the biggest capital needs? Like how will you deploy capital once received?
We're particularly limited right now by being able to pay toll manufacturers to practice our proprietary method of extraction. And so that's really where we're capital limited. You need a certain amount of money in order to process the kind of volumes that we're looking at. And we've driven over 103,000 in top line revenue and are currently turning a profit during the pandemic.
All right. Any other questions? Or we can slip in there? Okay. Thanks so much, Elliot. Really appreciate you joining us. Really interesting
Thanks, everybody.
stuff. I love algae, so it was really caught my attention.
And fun fact, they were part of the NASA iTech program this past year. They pitched.
All right.
And NASA iTech's been a proud partner of ours for a while.
Yep.
So happy to work with them. Okay, everyone, moving on. We are almost through all of these startups. Next up, let's hear from TipTags from North Hollywood, California. Let's watch their pitch.
Hi, I'm Tim Roberts, the CEO founder of TipTags. TipTags is a patented map-based data collection system that allows users to create, preserve, and share any kind of data on any map with extreme accuracy. We solve the problem of operational blindness. When you have an operation, you need to know what's going on right now, but you have a lot of obstacles in your way. Data silos, knowledge loss, information that is either not collected well or not collected at all, so then you can't make good data-driven decisions. We say, why guess when you can know? Put that information very accurately on a map, let all stakeholders use it, and see it giving you real-time visibility, creating a private atlas of operations, and then use AI, NLP, and other techniques to make sense of that information at scale. Our team's highly experienced. I come from aviation management consulting. My co-founder, Greg Parker, has co-founded 5 companies, exited 5 times. Chuck Ball, my operations and marketing guru, is the former co-CEO of Lycos. And Jim Burry is a former special operations commander who heads up our DoD efforts. So here's a quick video demo. Okay, let's look at international shipping. Here we're looking at Malaysia. And we're going to look at the Top Glove factory where we've ordered some nitrile gloves. So we can zoom in quite far. You can see we're only limited by the accuracy of the map. Here we're going to look at the front entrance. We can see what that looks like. And then we can go up here to another tag and see our shipment. Oh, there it is on the loading dock. We know exactly where it is and what it looks like. There's our proof of life. And here's the doorway inside. And now we can see inside the factory. So now we know where our factory is, what it looks like, and where our shipment is. We're working on a bunch of exciting projects. We're working with Reflex Engineering on a supply chain transparency system. We have 2 different projects with the Department of Defense, one creating a maintenance system for ICBMs, another creating an autonomous vehicle communication and control system. We're bringing map-based information to a claims system using the blockchain. And we are in 2 different cohorts with Plug and Play, one in Northwest Arkansas, one in Silicon Valley.
All right.
All right, welcome to the stage, Timothy Roberts. Judges, jump in with your questions.
Hey, Tim, I appreciate your background, by the way. The question I had for you had to be more with integrations. Obviously, you're creating a lot of custom, very technical and specific applications, but from a consumer standpoint, is this something that you would see like overlaying on top of like a Google Maps, or is it living completely independent?
Yeah, we're completely map agnostic, so we can be on any kind of a map. It could even be a 3D map because our system is set up to actually work in 3 dimensions.
Great, thanks.
The concept overall is that we're a lightweight system that works with legacy systems. So if you're a trucking company or if you're any other company that's already using a highly developed mapping system, routing system, et cetera, we simply layer in with what you've already got.
So I know that you do some sensor integration, some stuff that helps your maps maintain state, but do you do anything on the human side because an input on a package being somewhere is no longer valid after a certain point in time? How is that cleanup managed?
Well, as far as one of the kind of key concepts that I didn't get into very in depth here is that we can de-silo information. So any information that's associated with a place, like a shipment, like an autonomous vehicle, can be pulled together in one place. In the example that you saw about the Malaysia factory, we can change the association from the loading dock for the shipment when it gets loaded onto a shipping container, and then follow, say, the GPS device signal along, so that same icon, which has all of the information in it that is associated with that shipment, actually follows the shipment as it makes its way to the buyer. I hope that answers your question.
It kind of updates as it goes, is what you're saying.
Yeah, we're accessing the database to update our system. Yeah.
Gotcha.
We have a bidirectional API, and my CTO has built a lot of the backbone for Oracle and is highly experienced in this sort of stuff.
Thanks so much for the presentation. I know that there are some other sensors dealing with tracking on the market that are doing similar work. I'm curious who you think like your main competition is in the space, and why you think that you're going to be able to squash them.
Well, for one thing, we don't have sensors, so that's great. The sensor business is quite competitive and very crowded. We're sensor agnostic, so we just would pull from that sensor company's database and associate it with the place on a map.
Okay.
So what the main thing that we're able to do that other companies can't do is get that qualitative data and mix it with the quantitative data that's coming from IoT, and then also make sense of this avalanche of IoT data at scale using AI, NLP, computer vision, et cetera, so that this huge amount of information is coming, particularly in the supply chain, can make sense and have meaning for the people who are actually doing the work.
Awesome.
All right, thanks so much, Timothy.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right.
And as the judges place their scores, remember everyone out there, stay tuned. Right after this, we will be going right into our announcements of the top 15 and the top 5, and then the finals at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time today.
Put it in your calendar. All right, so next up we've heard from most of our companies. So our next one here is Vonzella out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's watch their pitch.
Hi, I'm Brad Wright, co-founder of Vonzella. We're pioneering the first ever bail insurance. Now, who needs bail insurance? I do. And a lot of my friends do too. For many people of color, cash bail is the gateway to mass incarceration and the prisons of inequity that come with it. We are arrested over 10 times more than whites and issued far higher bail amounts. If you can't make bail, you sit in jail an average of 20 days here in my hometown of Minneapolis. That's 3 weeks, long enough to lose your job, housing, maybe even your kids. So you wait or take a plea bargain and go to prison. Then the cycle continues. Vonzella gives people the economic agency to pay cash bail on their own. Unlike bail bonds or bail funds, it's a simple phone app for fast, direct fund transfer. It also alerts loved ones upon arrest. Our cost-sharing model collects monthly premiums starting at $10, which friends and family can pay into. Vonzella is disruptive but viable. Based on a unique data set, actuarial and financial analysis shows profitability in year 2, and loss ratios well aligned with established insurtechs. We're launching a private beta this month in Minneapolis and preparing another backed by community organizations and leading economists. And our users have spoken, with benchmark-breaking interest across all categories and Facebook validation. Our team includes my community outreach and lived experience, a former CMO, and an attorney who represented wrongfully convicted people. The world keeps changing, the systems don't. Vonzella is a public benefit corporation working for a market solution to help people free themselves in the here and now. Together, we can.
All right. Welcome, Judd Grutman.
Thanks. Good to be here. Thank you.
All right, Judd. All right, first question for Judd.
Hey, Judd. I really appreciate the problem you guys are solving and the huge downstream impacts it could have. Can you walk me through just like a really quick example so I'm crystal clear on a customer signs up for the insurance product. They have friends and family pay. Anyway, turn it to you.
Yeah, exactly. So we're focused primarily on B2B model. So we're working with a church and an employer on providing sort of group policies that you can draw down from. But the first pilot that we've just been able to get off the ground because of regulatory hurdles, et cetera, is a direct to consumer product with a web app where you purchase it, you pay $10 a month. If you get arrested, there's a button you can hit that alerts us that the process has started. If you are then arraigned and have to pay bail, we then are notified and we disperse money to you up to a certain amount of coverage, which you then can pay towards your bail.
Got it. Really helpful. Thank you.
Can you talk to us a little bit more about the revenue side, and can you dig in with that with us? You said you were going to be, I think, profitable by year 2, but I don't think we heard any numbers on that.
Yeah, so we're looking at a $20 a month price point and distributing this to about 20,000 customers by the end of year 2 in the state of Minneapolis. So when we look at partnering with employers, we're looking at like 1,000 person or 1,000 employee contracts. And one of the things that is unique about our business model, and it comes from just the unique mechanism that is bail itself, is that we provide an insurance product that you can recover many of the claims that you pay out. So because the way bail works is you pay the court, and even if you lose the case, you get that money back. And so we, through our policy, are obligating people to return that to a fund of ours that then is part of our loss prevention strategy that reinvests into the community and lowers our cost exposure.
Hey, Jed, really appreciate what you all are tackling here. A couple questions I have was, are you thinking about distinguishing or differentiating different types of crimes, whether they're violent crimes or domestic violence crimes? And also, are you thinking about underwriting towards the likelihood of a conviction? And how are you thinking about those things?
Sure. So the first thing is we have a $5,000 coverage cap, which in Minnesota is basically, through the data that we've collected, the differentiation between what are called major and minor crimes. And so what we are providing coverage for is mainly minor crimes. We are excluding the most serious crimes. There's a lot of debate about domestic violence. I would say that for the most part, the $5,000 in coverage wouldn't suffice for a serious domestic violence charge. I'm not totally sure about the second question, but we at this point are not differentiating in pricing. So your past record isn't exactly relevant at this point in time.
All right. Thank you. And we are out of time. Sorry, Judd. That was all we've got. Thank you for joining us and appreciate what you're doing as well.
Thanks.
All right, judges, go ahead and score. We've got, we're almost there, Jen. Over the years, we've had a number of companies apply, not just from the United States, but from all over the country, all over the world, yeah. And over the last, this year, we've had 5 different countries represented in the top 100 startups. So we had Germany, Australia, India, the UK, and Nigeria. So it's really a global competition, and we're obviously excited about that. And
yes,
our final pitch today.
Yes, and our next company, our final semifinalist pitch of the 2020 summit is from YellowCard, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. Let's hear their pitch.
Hello, my name is Munachi Ogweke. I'm the CPO at YellowCard. YellowCard is a platform that enables people buy or sell cryptocurrency across Africa over the counter. In Africa, cash is king. Over 1 billion people use cash for their daily payments and settlements. But cash is just paper. In Africa, there's a crucial lack of accessible and affordable payment systems. Companies like M-Pesa and Western Union have prepared some countries for digital payment solutions. But the issue is that this is still very inaccessible and extremely expensive for the people that need this service the most. Cryptocurrency solves this problem. But the people that need this technology in Africa are not able to access it. That's where we come in. We at YellowCard enable anybody buy cryptocurrencies over the counter with cash, bank transfer, or mobile money. We do this by enabling anyone access cryptocurrencies through our agent network. You simply visit a YellowCard store or agent, pay in cash, and receive Bitcoin instantly. Similarly, you can sell your cryptocurrencies to us and pick up cash in your local currency. And with over 36,000 locations, it couldn't be easier. Nigeria was the obvious place to start. It's number 3 in the world in Bitcoin holders per capita. We went live in June 2019, and thus far we have shown our strong product market fit with over $100 million in transactions since then. And in Q3 of 2020, we have done over $60 million in transaction volume. We are on pace for over $1.5 million in revenue this year, and our net income has been very strong. We are already cash flow positive, and we are growing 50% quarter over quarter. We are already live in Nigeria, South Africa, Botswana, Kenya, and Ghana, and we have 4 more countries coming before the end of the year. YellowCard has a diverse team with a broad range of experience. We recently raised $1.5 million from the Celo Ecosystem Fund and others, and we are targeting a Series A in 2021. We are YellowCard. We enable anyone buy or sell cryptocurrencies with bank transfer, cash, or mobile money. Thank you.
All right, and here with us to answer questions today is Chris Maurice. Welcome, Chris.
Hey guys, yeah, Minachi was not available today, so you're stuck with me. So.
Okay. All right, judges, jump in with questions.
Chris, I'm curious how you scaled your agent network.
Yeah, so the agent network, we work with a number of third parties. So rather than try to get involved in several different lines of business at the same time, we work with third parties who maintain the agent network for us, and the agents make a commission on each transaction.
Hey, Chris, it looks like you guys are scaling really quickly here. Congratulations. Talk a little bit more on the team. What are the challenges there to kind of continue to support that growth?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's really what we've been working on for the last 3-4 months now, since we were able to raise that seed round. Since then, we've grown the team now to over 55 people full time across 10 countries. We have a great support team of 10 total people in right now 5 different languages. The development team as well is now over 20 developers spread across the U.S. and then 3 countries in Africa. And so that's been the big thing that we've been working on the past few months is scaling that team to help continue that growth.
What does it take to set up the physical locations that people go to make the the in-person transactions?
Yeah, so for us, the most important thing is making sure that people know that they can do those transactions there, right? So Google Maps is not the most reliable thing in the world when you're in the middle of Legos. And so for us, the most important thing is getting materials, getting banners, flyers, stickers, posters out into these stores, not only in Legos, but then across, even in rural parts of the country, to make sure that people see our logo, see that big orange Bitcoin logo, and know that it's available there.
Curious about your competitors in this space. I definitely know there are competitors, and I'm curious if you can speak to it.
Yeah, so I would say that the 2 big ones right now would be Luno and Paxful in terms of their competitors in that they also sell Bitcoin and provide exchange services in the same markets as us. They are different types of exchanges, right? So whereas we are more like a Coinbase, if you're familiar with Coinbase, Luno is more of a Coinbase Pro with the fancy order books and candlesticks. And then Paxful is a peer-to-peer platform, so more like Craigslist for Bitcoin.
All right, and we are out of time. Thanks so much, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Much appreciated.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Chris. All right, so while the judges are tallying up their scores, we want to give everyone a round of applause for today's startup competitors. That was a great group of companies, and thank you so much. And great job, judges. Great questions. And we're going to give you one more shot to kind of weigh in, and we're going to do it lightning fast because I know time is important for everyone here. We want to make sure we keep you on task here. So quickly around the horn, we're going to go in this order. Just give us like a 10 to 15 second, like one thing that you think that one piece of startup advice that you think that anybody could follow or learn from. And we're going to go with Mark, then we're going to go with Ronnie, then we're going to go with Mike, then we're going to go with Allyson, and then we're Cheryl to bring it home. Sorry, Cheryl, you're going to have the last one. It's going to be hardest. Ready to go.
Oh man, this was such a diverse group of companies. I think as the world is kind of continuing to evolve, I think especially in a COVID world, being proactive about how you're embracing where the world's going. I think there's a lot of startups, especially high quality ones like the ones we saw today, really lean into that and understand, is it from a diversity of team perspective, a sustainability perspective, a COVID competitive advantage, whatever that might be.
Great advice. All right, Ronnie, go ahead.
I would say just especially as a founder, it can be really hard. So just to keep your head up and be confident in your vision because you did it for a reason. And obviously, especially all these teams that we've seen have had some great traction. They are where they are because they found a really good idea. They found some kind of product market fit. So just to make sure you keep that confidence, especially when you're pitching and when you're talking about your company. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Ronnie. Next up, Mike.
Hey, this has been awesome. It's been great seeing all the companies. I would say for me, especially at early stage, the team is by far and away the most valuable asset of the business. So in future, would love to hear more about the team in some of these presentations. And an additional thread there, starting a company is already one of the most uncertain experiences you can have as a human being. And the world is in the biggest state of uncertainty, at least I've ever experienced, and I think most people in our generations will ever experience. So keep that in mind, be intentional about your well-being, and get through this.
Definitely agree. Allyson.
Thanks so much for having me. It was some really, really impressive companies today. I think for me, the two biggest things that I'm always looking for is how defensible is your product, and also the competition. I feel like it's so important. I think a lot of startups, there's a lot of overlap with other existing startups that are at a much later stage. And so I think coming in and being able to share who that competition is and how you plan to beat them with a plan is going to be really important.
All right, Cheryl, last but not least.
Again, thank you so much. This has been amazing. And I echo what Jen said, that especially right now, seeing what entrepreneurs are doing to change the world really helps all of us stay sane right now. And like, thank you for what you're doing. It's actually making a psychological difference in all of our lives, that you're refusing to let 2020 win. And you're pushing ahead for all of us and keeping us optimistic. Only thing I'd love to focus on a little bit more is technology. In general, what's the system, just hearing you're using a specific technology doesn't mean you're necessarily using it correctly. There's always the whole, if you have a hammer. And I'd like to see a little bit more focus on that, even if it's just a quick slide. And my little bit of advice for startups right now is please do not trust the banking system for anything. It's in a much worse position than any of us talk about, because as venture capitalists, we don't normally talk about banks that much. But you need to be aware, whether that's personally or for your business, it's going to be pretty messy. And, it's a red queen race, as it always has been. Everyone's running fast and evolving. And if anything, the current conditions make it easier to get ahead and much easier to stand out. So in some ways, it could be something crazily enough that you end up being thankful for in the future.
I love it. Ended with gratitude. I love it. Okay, so
yes, thank you
so much,
all
Cheryl.
for being here today.
Thank you all. Yes, it's been great.
Okay, all of you out there, don't forget, stick around for the .US Veteran Startup of the Year program, followed immediately by our 2020 Startup of the Year Top 5 Finals Pitch Competition and the Summit Award Ceremony. One more reminder, go out there and vote for the People's Choice Award at est.us/poll, which will be announced after the summit on the podcast.
And as we are rounding out day 3, there's still an opportunity for you to get involved. If you want to bring your friends or colleagues or pets, you can still tune in to that top 5 finalists and award ceremony. There's a link out there that's circulating in the chat and whatnot, and you'll be able to come in and hang out with us as we round this out. If you are here, thank you so much for being part of the community, and we really appreciate you being here. And so hopefully we'll see you shortly. But until then, as we look to denouement this whole situation with the start of the year 2020, finals and awards coming soon.